baseball player profiles as we profile Taylor Sanagorski, Bishop Carroll Alum, and assistant coach at Butler County. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you putting this on.
Thanks for taking time this morning. Come visit us. So let's get started here. Growing up, you had a dad who was a minor league baseball instructor, and he coached college baseball. How was that growing up?
Man, it was awesome. Just to be around the game from a young age, growing up on a baseball field, I mean, it was awesome. And then, to transition into, spending so much time around, the best of the best, right? And being able to, be around the game, getting played at such a high level, and seeing, what they do day in and day out to have success and to succeed, was awesome. So, I mean, just a ton of memories, being around him, being around the game, and getting to be with him, I mean, was a kid's dream. So definitely blessed and fortunate, to have that opportunity growing up.
So needless to say, when you were doing hitting lessons with your dad, there was no arguments there?
No, not at all. I mean, when you're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever, and visit him, when he's in season somewhere, or definitely in the off season, when he's got some pro guys kind of coming in and out, and they're, you're picking up baseballs, and they're, hey, you got to listen to whatever this guy says. I mean, it's gold, and stuff. So yeah, so I mean, definitely didn't have that problem. I know there's kind of some conflict sometimes, between dad, son, or whatever, and not to say, hey, I wasn't stubborn sometimes, I mean, a little hard-headed occasionally, but when I finally listened and you get that breakthrough moment, you're like, okay, like I just need to do it, every time. So
I understand. So did you, growing up, get a chance to travel with him much and do some travel?
Yeah, so, and that's one of the best things, kind of about the whole deal. This every summer after I got done playing my season, it would usually be end of July, early August before school would start. I would go and had the opportunity. We'd pick out kind of the longest homestand during that time, whether, early on it was 7 to 10, days or whatnot. And then the last couple of years, I got to spend, 2 to 3 weeks, down with them. And so, yeah, being able to go down there, they gave me kind of my own locker, uniform, put me in, the third or fourth, group of BP. I mean, I'm hitting on the field live before the game with them. When I was, 13 or whatever, started to be able to catch bullpens for those guys. And I mean, it was, just an incredible experience. I mean, they, when I came in, they totally welcomed me, and basically treated me like a pro player when I was, 13 years old. So, it was such a, phenomenal experience to be around, to be a part of, and like I said, I mean, see, what the best are doing and to learn from them.
Right. So with all that, did you get the chance throughout your career to meet any big names?
Yeah, that's kind of a long list because there's different, there's different sides to it. Like, baseball, it's a fraternity, right? And you have so many connections, just, whether you know the person or not, you can kind of always find someone similar. And so to start with, right, Wichita has such a rich history in baseball, and there's a ton of, big leaguers that have been from here, and stuff. So knowing some guys, growing up, then getting in, to when he was in pro ball, having guys that worked their way through the system, being kind of in the right place at the right time when there were some guys on some rehab assignments, and to, now when, me being done playing, having some guys that I played with that are now in the big league. So, it's a cool experience, and it's been a lot of fun to kind of root for players over the time.
So what was that experience like in the NBC? You got to catch bullpens for the pro team that came to town a couple of years. How was that experience?
It was awesome. Like I said, kind of had gotten some experience, right, with being around, some of those pro guys. And so, but to me, that was one of the first times where it was like, I was a little starstruck.
Around Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers.
For sure, a lot of them. And so for me to be a fly on the wall was such a incredible experience. You know, getting there and picking, you know, Roy Halladay's mind and Jake Peavy and you know, Roger Clemens, and just listening to the information that they had and the knowledge, you know, that they've amassed. I mean, it was just incredible. And you know, being around some of the great hitters, you know, Chipper Jones, Dan Ola,
Right.
Brandon Inge, you know, and just everybody. I mean, it was just such an incredible time, and you know, like I said, just for me to be in the same clubhouse with them, have my own locker, you know, sit next to those guys, and you know, and just talk was pretty cool.
It's a great experience. Great experience. So back to high school, you played at Bishop Carroll. You were a catcher at Bishop Carroll. You got recruited by Gene Stevenson to go to WSU. You played there for a couple of years, and then you finished up in Emporia. How was your experience overall for college?
It was really good. You know, obviously, I'm super grateful for, you know, the opportunities and you know, the coaches that I played for, you know, the teammates that I had, and you know, the great memories that, you know, that we had, you know, playing together, practicing together, you know, on and off the field. You know, was fortunate to meet my wife at Wichita State when she was on the track team. It was, you know, it was awesome. Of course, there's, you know, some bumps in the road, you know, but I think that's what's you know, propelled me into the position I am today. Definitely learned a lot about myself, learned a lot more about the game, you know, and just continued to you know, to develop and be where I'm at, you know, right now.
And right now you're coaching. You were at Newman last year, and now you're at Butler as an assistant. What got you into coaching?
So, you know, I think it's something that I always wanted to do. Being, like I said, you know, being around the game from such a young age and seeing, you know, the impact that my dad's had, you know, has really been pretty neat. You know, the fact that he's been able to touch, you know, 30, 35 guys' lives year in and year out, you know, over the span of, you know, 50 plus years. I mean, it's been sweet, and to see, you know, what they've been able to take away from him and from the game, and the life lessons that baseball teaches us, has really inspired me, right, and given me kind of a purpose and a why to be able to make an impact while I'm here. And so, you know, that's why I got into it. That's what I wanted to do. You know, I want to be moving. I want to be outside. You know, I'm passionate about the game.
Right.
You know, and kind of want to use that as my vehicle to, you know, instruct, you know, young men and to, you know, make them, you know, better persons of life.
It's good. It's really good. So you're at Butler. I know it's your first year there, and you just got started here a couple of months ago and coaching with Coach McVay. Butler's usually pretty dominant in the Jayhawk West, and the Jayhawks are really tough. What are you guys going to be like this year at Butler?
You know, yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, you know, our past success has really been a testament to, you know, the continued coaching staff. I mean, Coach McVay's been there, you know, for a number of years, going on his, I think, 15th as head coach. You know, Coach Reese has been there, you know, 13 years. You know, so, you know, their you know, success is a testament to what they've continued to do and develop in the culture that they have. And so for me to be able to join in and join them has been awesome. You know, really looking forward to what we have this year. Obviously, we didn't play any outside competition this fall. So for us to kind of put a measuring stick up on where we're at, you know, compared to other teams, you know, made it a little bit more difficult. We're excited. We know, you know, the things that we think we can do well, the things that we need to get better at, and I think if, you know, we continue to do that here in the, you know, in the winter or fall, or into the fall and winter, early spring, you know, when the season starts, you know, we're pretty excited. So.
You got to be ready to go in the Jayhawk. I can tell you that.
That's a fact.
I know that for a fact too.
Yeah.
So what type of player, when you go out and recruit, what type of player do you look for?
You know, that's a good question. I think first off, it depends, right? Depends on, you know, what your needs are, right, when you're recruiting. It's going to be different if you're kind of targeting, you know, you need a speedy outfielder that can really, really run versus, hey, I need a, you know, kind of big bopper corner infielder. But to kind of get away from that, a general answer that I look at, regardless of the type of player, would be more on the intangible side of things. First off, we want an athlete. We want a guy that's going to move well, not be real stiff and rigid. If they can, make things look easy, right? That means you got a lot of potential that you can tap into. But ultimately, I believe it kind of comes down to a few things. Like I said, the intangibles that I look at are three things. It's going to be what's between your ears, right? What's in your chest, and then what's between your legs. So what's between your ears, right? I want a guy that's got a lot of baseball intelligence, right? That knows how to play the game. Is anticipating the game. You can see them communicating, moving guys around, getting ready, and is always one step ahead, right? I want to see what they got in their chest, right? What kind of passion, desire, drive do they play with? I mean, are they high energy guys? Do they get after it, right? Play the game hard. And then, right, what's between your legs? Are they competitive? That's the kind of spirit that we embody. At Butler, I know, we look for some gritty players. And there's a lot of ways to describe that, but I think regardless, you gotta have some sort of drive and competitive spirit, when you're playing in a game of failure.
Right. Okay, that's really good. Is there any advice? And I mean this more for the younger side, like youth kids coming up, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, that they need to start trying to develop so they can get ready to get into high school and then get to your level.
Yeah. I think first thing you talk to those younger guys, what's imperative, and I think even some of your high schoolers that you're interviewing through this can attest to, they need to take care of their grades in the classroom. It only makes it easier for them to move on and to have more doors open, when they handle their work, in school well. After that, my suggestion is you're never ever going to regret pouring time and energy and effort into your craft, into your skill. I don't think, regardless if you're done playing, if those guys are done playing baseball after they're 18, and they hang it up and move on with life, or if they continue on and move on to the next level and so on, they're never going to regret the time that they spent in the batting cage, right? The time that they went and really worked on their defensive craft, and spent, fielding ground balls, working on, them having a better arm, or, any sort of mechanics, right? You're never going to regret that. If anything, it's going to teach you more down the road in life, right? When, you have your job, and if you want to be great at it, if you want to be the best, you're gonna dive deep into it. And then lastly, there's a lot of kids out there, right? And if you want to play this game, I truly believe that there's a place that you can play at, but right, with there being a lot of kids, I think you have to work harder than you think you need to.
Right.
And if you do that, like I said, kind of goes back to you pour your soul into it, then it's going to take care of itself.
Would you agree with me on this that as you get older, obviously it gets tougher.
Mm-hmm.
Every level gets tougher, especially when you get to your level. It kind of becomes a job in a way, and they got to realize. And I try to tell this to the kids, especially the high school kids moving on. You might be the best in our area, but there are kids coming from so many other states that are the best in their state. So you being an all-state player here, nobody really cares when you get to that next level because they were all-state.
Right.
Now you're competing, and it's all about competition. Would you agree?
100%.
And you got to go out and beat that guy.
100%.
The whole goal, in my opinion, is just to find a way to get on the field.
Right.
I don't care what position it is.
Right.
Is that like kind of the mentality that you guys have there?
Yeah, so, like you said, it evolves around competition, right? And that's the type of player we look for.
Yeah.
One that's not going to be afraid to back down or, be weary, right? I look at it a couple of ways, right? If you truly want to be great, and you want to be good at something, if anything, and it kind of sounds odd, if anything, you want to root for your competitor, right? Or you want to root for the guy that's at your position. because the better that they do, guess what? That's either going to do one or two things. That's either going to, elevate yourself, right? And you're going to do more than that guy. You're going to be better. You're going to, he's going to make every play. Well, guess what? You're going to make every play and then some, right? Or you're going to make it look easier at least. Or you're going to back down, and you're going to give in and you're going to cave in. And then at that point, right, that kind of shows where you're at. Now, to go back to, the question on, right, it's their job and everything. Yes, right, those guys come in and they're the best of the best, right? And we, usually every team so far that I've been a part of, right, you always kind of address that at the beginning of the year. Guess what? You got to close the yearbook. You can't worry about what you came from or who you were in the past or anything. What matters is now, is today. And so for our guys, yes, it's a job, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's a job more as it's an expectation. They're expected at that point in time to put in the time and energy and effort, right? And that's the bare minimum.
Right.
From there, right, if we're really gonna be good, or again, talking about the player, if he really wants to be great, he's gonna do what's expected, but then he's gonna do more.
Right.
And he's gonna continue to do more and continue to pour in, right? Pour in that time, that energy. And like I said, then at that point, I mean, what he can accomplish is limitless.
Right. That's good. That's good advice right there too. So outside of baseball, you have any hobbies?
Yeah. So a couple things. Of course, playing golf is fun. I'm an outdoor person, so would love to be able to do that a lot. Now, it's an expensive hobby, so I don't get to play near as much as I would enjoy to. But the other thing that I do enjoy, doing is a little bit of woodworking. Got an opportunity to, do some of that with kind of my in-laws and stuff, and so that's really kind of sparked a passion. Taking a raw piece of wood or something, right, that doesn't look like anything, and then to be able to build it and have a finished product that you either really enjoy or can give to somebody, and they find some sort of satisfaction in there is a great feeling.
Right. What about you that's something that nobody knows, like something that'd be interesting for people to know that most people don't?
So it's kind of an off the wall thing, but something about myself that I want to take this time and this platform to mention is I have type 1 diabetes, and I've had that since I was 10 years old. And the reason why I bring it up is a couple things. Number one, November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and so anytime that I can kind of acknowledge that, right, and say something about it, I want to take the opportunity to. But then also, I want to inspire others to do more, right? That if you're a kid that has a chronic disease or anything like that, don't let it stop you. Always keep pushing and find a way. I know in my case, I wanted to be like everybody else, and so I kind of kept it quiet. But regardless, right, if you find a routine, and you manage it well, and you find what works, guess what? Your opportunities are endless, and I can say if you're in the same boat, you can go be a collegiate athlete, you can go be a professional athlete, you can do whatever you want to. You shouldn't be limited, by something like that, for sure.
Okay. You have any favorite Major League Baseball team?
So no, I since my dad was in pro ball, right, kind of knowing, going back to what we talked about, knowing some of those guys that were working their way through, really cheered and rooted for guys that I had a connection with or knew. And so, over time, right, baseball's a business, they get traded, sign with different teams. Never really had a true team that I really, really rooted for. The only exception with that being, I'll always be a National League guy over an American League.
Me too.
So I know that's something that, I don't know if that happens a lot, but I know in my case, kind of a little bit more old school where, hey, I'm always going to root for that National League team.
Okay. any one particular player that you kind of favored growing up that you liked?
Yeah, you know, kind of a rich history of baseball, right? And you know, my dad was able to educate me and teach me a lot. I think the first one that comes to mind, and the reason why I became a switch hitter was because of Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
You know, having my dad read me, you know, that story, or read his story when I was, you know, just about to turn 5, and that's when Mickey Mantle started to switch hit when he turned 5, and so, you know, that's what really got me going and interested in, you know, being a switch hitter and stuff. So that would be the first one, and obviously he's, you know, arguably one of the greatest players of all
If not
time.
the best switch hitter of all time.
Exactly, and so from there, then as I grew up, right, and was kind of a kid, you know, watching, I think two guys really come to mind. Number one, another switch hitter. I know this can be, you know, your favorite or a favorite of yours is Chipper Jones.
Yep.
You know, again, arguably one of the best switch hitters of all time. And so for me to be able to watch him and see, you know, the presence and the prowess that he had. I mean, when he stepped in the box and just how he owned, you know, the plate from both sides, you know, really inspired me and really kind of taught me a lot, you know, just by watching him. And then the last one from the catching side of it was Pudge. You know, Ivan Rodriguez. He was a guy that, you know, 5'8", 5'9", maybe, but commanded the game. You know, controlled the pace of the game, controlled the pitching staff. You know, demanded the best out of everyone. You know, especially on every team that he played for. And so for me to be able to watch somebody that was so passionate about, you know, the defensive side of the game, and was so proud to be back there, that's really what kind of inspired me to, you know, to really take pride in being a catcher, and taught me more of, you know, how to be a catcher, how to control the game, how to, you know, talk with your pitchers, how to manage and be the field general than anything else. So yeah, those three I think are definitely, you know,
3 good ones too, by the way. 3 really good ones. So last subject here, MLB The Show. You any good?
No, I'd be terrible. You know, that's something in college. So Tyler Jones, you know, him and I were together, and you know, best friends and stuff. And so we go to practice, we go to weights, we go to study hall, class, whatever it was. You know, come back, and at the end of the night, right, you know, we get after it, play a little bit. So he was really good. I wasn't very good, but I became okay. Where I'm gonna put up a fight. You know, I'm probably not gonna win, but I put up a fight at least. But since, you know, I mean, since college, I don't have a gaming system. So no, if we played right now, man, I'd get destroyed. Yeah, for sure. And I'll be the first one to admit it.
Okay.
So.
Well, Taylor, I want to thank you for coming in this morning. I do appreciate your time.
For sure. Thank you.
And that includes This Week in Baseball Player Profiles with Taylor Sanagorski. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank our sponsors, 316 Baseball, Play It Again Sports, and Elite Recruiting Consultants. Till next week, thank you.
Boom.